Stop letting the chaos of a busy train station paralyze your English. Textbook phrases often fail when you're facing a crowded ticket counter or trying to catch a rapid announcement over the speakers. Today, we're diving into the real-world phrases you actually need to navigate busy city transportation. Think train stations, metro systems, buses, and packed terminals. By the end of this episode, you'll feel calm and confident moving through any metropolitan transit hub.
Exactly. And if you've ever stood in front of a ticket machine in another country thinking, wait, what do I press? You are not alone. Today, we're walking through real situations step by step, using natural English phrases that commuters actually say.
Let's start with the first situation, buying tickets and using transit cards.
Picture this. You're standing in front of a ticket kiosk in a busy subway station. There are people waiting behind you, the machine is flashing options, and you see things like one-way, day pass, and reload card. It can feel stressful.
Right. So let's break down the most common phrases. Suppose you're not sure what type of ticket you need. You can ask someone nearby or a staff member. Excuse me, which ticket should I buy for the city center?
Or you could say, hi, is the day pass cheaper if I'm traveling several times today?
A one-way fare usually means a single trip from one station to another. A day pass means unlimited rides for the whole day.
Another real problem happens when the machine doesn't work. Maybe your card fails to scan.
In that case, you might say to staff, excuse me, this machine isn't accepting my card.
Or if your phone wallet doesn't scan at the gate, you can say, my digital pass didn't scan. Could you help me?
Notice how simple and direct these phrases are. In busy stations, people speak quickly and clearly.
And commuters often shorten their questions too. For example, is this the fastest line to downtown?
Or even shorter, fastest route to downtown?
Now let's move to the next challenge, reading route maps and station signs.
If you've ever looked at a giant metro map, you know how confusing it can be.
Especially when you see words like delayed, diverted, or standing room only on digital boards.
Delayed means the train is running late.
Diverted means the train is taking a different route than usual.
And standing room only means there are no seats left.
Now imagine you're not sure which platform you need. A very natural question is, excuse me, is this platform for the northbound train?
Or you could ask, does this train go toward Central Station?
Another super useful phrase is asking about your stop. Hi, could you tell me if Riverside is the next stop?
Most commuters are happy to help with quick answers like, yeah, it's the next one.
Or, no, 2 stops after this.
Now, let's talk about something everyone experiences in big stations, crowds.
Oh yes, crowded platforms during rush hour.
When you need to move through people, simple, polite phrases work best. Excuse me.
Or, sorry, coming through.
In English-speaking cities, excuse me is usually used when you want someone to move slightly.
And sorry is often used when you accidentally bump into someone.
You might also hear staff announcements like, attention passengers, the train to City Park will now depart from platform 4.
Or, track change for the eastbound line.
These announcements are important because they signal sudden changes.
Okay, now imagine you're finally on the train or bus.
You might want to ask if a seat is available. Is this seat taken?
Or you could ask a passenger, are you getting off at the next stop?
If there's a delay and you want information, you might ask the conductor. Excuse me, do you know how long the delay will be?
Or, will this train continue to Riverside?
For buses and trams, sometimes you also need to request a stop.
Most systems have a stop button, but people still say something like, next stop please.
Or you might ask the driver, does this bus stop at Market Street?
Now we reach the final stage of your journey, leaving the station and finding your destination.
Large stations often have multiple exits, which can be confusing.
You might see signs like north exit, street level, or a city square exit.
If you're unsure, you can ask, which exit leads to City Square?
Or, is this the exit for Main Street?
Once you're outside, you might need walking directions.
For example, excuse me, how do I get to the museum from here?
Or if you're meeting a rideshare driver, where is the rideshare pickup area?
When you combine all these phrases together, navigating public transportation becomes much easier.
Exactly. Instead of freezing in a busy station, you'll have the language tools to stay calm and communicate clearly.
And remember, commuters speak quickly, but they usually use short, simple phrases.
So practice these expressions and imagine yourself moving confidently through a crowded metro station.
In our next segment, we'll simulate a full journey from entering the station to arriving at your destination using natural English conversation.
All right, let's continue our journey. Imagine we've just arrived at a huge city transit hub during the morning rush. People are moving quickly, announcements are echoing through the station, and you need to figure out how to get to your destination.
So let's simulate the entire experience step by step, just like it would happen in real life.
First scene. You enter the station and see ticket machines lined up against the wall.
You walk up to a commuter standing nearby and ask a simple question. "Excuse me, do I buy tickets here or at the counter?"
The commuter replies quickly. You can buy them at the machine. It's faster.
Now you're looking at the screen. You see options like one-way ticket, return ticket, and day pass.
You're unsure which one is best, so you turn to a station assistant. Hi, which ticket should I choose if I'm making 2 trips today?
The assistant responds, "A day pass will be cheaper."
You buy the ticket and walk toward the turnstile gate.
But suddenly, your phone wallet doesn't scan.
This happens all the time in busy cities. You might say to the staff member nearby, "Excuse me, my pass isn't scanning."
And the staff member might answer, "Try the scanner on the right."
Problem solved. You're now inside the station.
Next challenge, the route map.
You look at the giant metro map and see many colored lines going in different directions. You notice your destination is on the blue line, but you're not sure which platform to use.
So you ask another passenger, "Excuse me, does the blue line go to Central Park Station?"
The passenger responds quickly, "Yes, but you need the northbound train."
Now you walk toward the platform, but suddenly you hear an announcement. "Attention passengers, the blue line train is delayed."
Delayed means the train will arrive later than scheduled.
While waiting, you want to confirm your stop with someone standing nearby. "Hi, do you know if River Street is after Central Park?"
The commuter answers, "Yes, it's 2 stops after."
Now the train finally arrives, and the platform becomes crowded.
You need to move through people to reach the door. "Excuse me."
"Sorry, coming through."
These short phrases help you move politely through crowds.
You step inside the train and see one empty seat. You ask the person next to it, "Is this seat taken?"
They respond, "No, go ahead."
After a few minutes, you want to double-check your stop again.
"Excuse me, is River Street the next stop?"
The passenger says, "No, the next one is City Hall."
Now the train stops at City Hall and many people exit. 2 minutes later, an announcement plays. Next stop, River Street.
You stand near the door and prepare to exit.
You get off the train and follow the signs toward the exits.
But the station has multiple exits. "Excuse me, which exit goes to River Street?"
They reply, "Take exit B. It's on the left."
You walk up the stairs, leave the station, and finally reach the street level.
Now you just need directions to your final destination. You ask a pedestrian, "Hi, how do I get to the city library from here?"
And they answer, "Walk straight for 2 blocks, then turn right."
And just like that, you've successfully navigated an entire public transportation journey in English.
From buying the ticket to reading the map, riding the train, and finding the right exit.
All using simple, natural phrases.
In the next part, we're going to share some quick survival phrases that every traveler should memorize before using public transportation in a big city. All right, welcome back. Now that we've walked through a full journey inside a busy transit system, let's talk about what I like to call survival phrases. These are short, powerful expressions that can save you time and stress when you're navigating transportation in a big city.
Exactly. In crowded stations, people don't usually speak in long sentences. They use very short, clear phrases.
Let's start with the first group, asking for directions quickly.
One of the most useful phrases is simply, "Which platform for the red line?"
Notice how short that is. In a busy station, this sounds very natural.
Another helpful one is this the train to downtown?"
You'll hear commuters use that constantly. Here's another common question. Does this stop at Central Station?
Now let's talk about confirmation phrases. Sometimes you just want to double-check something. You might say, "Just to confirm, this train goes to Riverside, right?"
Or even shorter. This goes to Riverside?
People often shorten sentences like that in fast situations.
Now let's talk about what happens when something goes wrong.
Because trust me, in big cities, something eventually will.
Maybe your train suddenly stops between stations. You might ask another passenger, Do you know what's happening?
Or you could ask the conductor, is there a delay on this line?
Another situation is when the route changes unexpectedly. You might hear an announcement like, "This train will terminate at City Center."
Terminate means the train will stop there and go no further.
If you're confused, you could ask, "Do I need to transfer to continue to River Street?"
Transfer means changing trains or buses.
Now let's move to bus and tram situations.
On buses, passengers often confirm stops with the driver. Does this bus go to Market Street?
If the stop is approaching, you can say, "Next stop, please."
Many systems also use a stop button, but saying the phrase is still common in some places.
Another useful question is this the last stop?
This helps if you're unsure whether the route continues further.
Now let's talk about something that many travelers worry about, sounding polite while moving through crowds.
Yes, this is a big part of city transportation etiquette.
If you need someone to move slightly, the best phrase is, "Excuse me."
If you accidentally bump into someone, you say, sorry.
And if you're passing between people near a door, you might say, "Excuse me, getting off here."
These tiny phrases make interactions smooth and friendly.
Now, let's imagine a quick real-life moment. You're on a crowded train, and the person next to you is blocking the door. You could say politely, "Excuse me, this is my stop."
Most commuters will immediately step aside.
Another common moment is asking about seats. "Is anyone sitting here?"
Or if someone left a bag on the seat, is this seat available?
Simple, polite, and effective.
Now, before we continue, let's quickly review the key idea from today's episode.
Navigating public transportation in English isn't about perfect grammar.
It's about using short, natural phrases at the right moment.
Ticket machines,
Platform signs,
crowded trains.
quick conversations with commuters.
Once you know these phrases, the entire system becomes much easier.
In the next part, we're going to do something really fun. We'll create a rapid practice challenge where you'll hear situations from a busy metro station, and you'll quickly choose the best English phrase to respond with.
All right, let's jump into our rapid practice challenge. This is where you imagine yourself inside a busy metro station, and we'll give you a situation. Lena and I will show the most natural phrase you could use.
Think of this like real-life training. These are the kinds of moments that happen every day in big cities.
Situation 1. You're standing in front of a large route map, and you're not sure which direction your train goes.
You turn to a nearby commuter and ask, "Excuse me, is this line going downtown?"
That question is short, clear, and very common.
Situation 2. You're already on the platform, but you're not sure if you're waiting in the correct place.
You could ask someone next to you, "Is this the platform for the Green Line?"
And most people will answer quickly with something like, "Yes, it is," or "No, that's the other side."
Situation 3. You're on a train and you're worried you might miss your stop.
This happens to everyone. You can ask a passenger politely, "Could you tell me when we reach Park Avenue?"
Another natural version is Park Avenue the next stop?
Situation 4. The train suddenly stops longer than expected, and everyone looks confused.
You might ask someone nearby, "Do you know why we stopped?"
Or a slightly more formal question, "Is there a delay on this line?"
Situation 5. You get off the train, but now you can't find the correct exit.
You approach a person walking past and say, "Excuse me, which exit goes to Main Street?"
And they might answer, "Take exit C, it's straight ahead."
Situation 6. You're on a crowded platform and people are standing near the door where you need to get off.
You say politely, "Excuse me, getting off here."
This is a very natural phrase used in busy trains.
Situation 7. You're boarding the bus and want to make sure it goes to your destination. You ask the driver, "Hi, does this bus go to River Street?"
Drivers hear this question all the time.
Situation 8. You want to sit down, but you're not sure if the seat is taken.
You can say, "Is this seat taken?"
Short and polite.
Now, here's something important for learners. When cities are busy, people often shorten sentences.
Instead of saying a full sentence like, "Could you please explain to me how I might possibly reach the downtown station using the subway system?" commuters usually say, "Which platform for downtown?"
It's quick, efficient, and completely natural.
Let's imagine one final full journey again, but this time very quickly.
You enter the station and ask, "Where can I buy a ticket?"
At the machine, you ask, is the day pass unlimited?
At the map, you ask, "Does this line go to Central Station?"
On the platform, you confirm, this train goes northbound, right?
Inside the train, you ask, "Is River Street the next stop?"
And when leaving the station, you ask, which exit leads to City Square?
When you combine these small phrases, navigating a massive transit system suddenly feels simple.
Instead of feeling lost, you become someone who moves through the station with confidence.
You understand the signs.
You ask quick questions.
You reach your destination smoothly.
And that's the real goal of learning practical English.
Not perfect grammar.
But real communication in real situations.
In our next part, we're going to share the top 5 mistakes English learners make when using public transportation in big cities and how to avoid them completely.
All right, let's continue with something extremely helpful for anyone learning English while traveling in big cities. We're going to talk about the 5 most common mistakes people make when using public transportation in English.
Yes, these mistakes happen all the time, even to people who know English quite well. But once you understand them, they're very easy to avoid.
Let's start with mistake number 1, using sentences that are too long.
Many learners try to speak with perfect grammar, and they end up saying something like, "Excuse me, could you please explain to me how I might possibly reach the downtown station using the subway system?"
That sentence is correct, but in a busy station, it sounds very unnatural and slow.
Instead, commuters usually say something simple like, "How do I get to downtown?" Or even shorter, "Which line goes downtown?"
Short phrases work best in fast environments. Mistake number 2, not asking for confirmation.
Many people look at a map and assume they understand it.
But transit systems can be confusing.
So it's always smart to confirm. You can ask someone nearby, "Does this train go to Central Station, right?"
That small confirmation can prevent a very long mistake. Mistake number 3, ignoring announcements.
Announcements in stations contain very important information.
For example, you might hear, the train has been diverted.
That means the train will take a different route,
Or you might hear, this train will terminate at City Center.
which means the train will stop there and everyone must get off.
Listening carefully to these words can save you a lot of confusion. Mistake number 4, being too quiet or hesitant.
Sometimes learners feel shy about asking questions.
But commuters are used to quick questions. So if you're unsure, just ask, "Excuse me, is this the right train for Riverside?"
Most people will answer in a few seconds.
Mistake number 5, forgetting polite phrases.
Even in crowded cities, politeness is important.
Simple words like excuse me, sorry, and thank you make interactions smooth.
For example, when moving through a crowd, saying "excuse me" helps people understand you're trying to pass.
And if someone helps you, a quick thanks, I appreciate it is always nice.
Now let's imagine a confident traveler using everything we learned today.
They walk into the station calmly.
They check the route map and ask, "Which platform for the blue line?"
They on the platform confirm, this goes to Central Station, right?
Inside the train, they politely say, "Excuse me, getting off at the next stop."
And when leaving the station, they ask, which exit leads to Market Street?
Simple phrases, clear communication, and zero stress.
And that's the real secret to navigating busy transportation systems in English.
Confidence comes from practice and knowing the right phrases.
The more you hear and use these expressions, the more natural they will feel.
In our next part, we'll share a quick daily practice routine you can use to master these transportation phrases and sound like a local commuter in any major city.
All right, let's finish today's learning journey with something practical you can do every day. We're going to share a simple routine that helps you remember and use transportation phrases naturally.
Exactly. Learning phrases once isn't enough. The key is practicing them until they feel automatic, just like real commuters use them.
So here's a quick 3-step daily practice routine.
Step 1 is visualization.
Imagine you're standing in a busy metro station. Picture the ticket machines, the route maps, the crowded platforms, and the trains arriving.
Then ask yourself a simple question out loud. Which platform goes downtown?
Or, is this the train to Central Station?
Speaking these phrases out loud helps your brain get used to real conversations.
Step 2 is role play.
You can do this alone or with a friend.
Pretend one person is a commuter and the other person is asking for directions.
For example, excuse me, does this train stop at River Street?
And the other person answers, yes, it's the third stop.
Then switch roles.
Role play is powerful because it prepares you for real situations.
Step 3 is listening practice.
Listen to announcements from train stations or transportation videos online.
Pay attention to words like delayed, platform change, final stop, and next station.
These phrases appear constantly in real transit systems.
Now let's do a quick final review of some essential expressions from today.
Buying tickets. Where can I buy a ticket?
Is the day pass unlimited?
Finding the correct train. Does this train go to downtown?
Which platform for the Green Line?
Checking your stop. Is this the next stop?
Could you tell me when we reach River Street?
Moving through crowds. Excuse me.
Sorry, coming through.
Leaving the station. Which exit goes to Main Street?
How do I get to the museum from here?
These small phrases are incredibly powerful.
Because they turn a stressful transportation experience into something smooth and manageable.
Instead of feeling lost in a massive station, you'll know exactly what to say.
And that confidence changes everything.
Before we wrap up, let's imagine one final moment.
You're standing in a huge city station for the first time.
The trains are arriving, announcements are playing, and people are moving quickly.
But this time, you're calm.
You walk up to a commuter and ask, "Excuse me, which platform goes to Central Station?"
You buy your ticket, find the correct train, and reach your destination smoothly.
That's the goal of learning real-world English,
Not just studying grammar in a book.
but communicating confidently in everyday situations.
Thanks for joining us today as we explored English phrases for navigating busy cities and public transportation.
And remember, every new phrase you practice brings you one step closer to speaking English naturally in the real world.
Until next time, keep practicing, stay curious, and keep exploring the world through language.
All right, Lena, before we close today's session, let's add one more practical segment. Imagine our listeners are about to travel tomorrow. What are the absolute must-know phrases they should remember when using public transportation?
Great idea. Let's call this the last-minute commuter toolkit. These are the phrases you can quickly review before entering a busy station.
Let's start with the moment you first walk into a large transit hub.
If you're confused about where to begin, you can simply ask, "Excuse me, where are the ticket machines?"
Or if you see a ticket counter instead of machines, you might ask, "Can I buy a transit card here?"
Now let's imagine you're already at the machine, but the options look confusing.
A very useful question is, which ticket should I choose for one day of travel?
Or you might ask someone nearby, "Is the day pass worth it?"
Once you pass through the gate, the next challenge is finding your line.
This is where short commuter-style questions help a lot. Where's the red line?
Or, which way is northbound?
You'll notice that commuters often use directions like northbound, southbound, eastbound, and westbound.
Those directions tell you which direction the train is traveling.
Now, imagine you reach the platform, but you're still unsure about the train.
This is a perfect moment to confirm with another passenger. "Excuse me, is this the train to City Center?"
Or even shorter, "This goes to city center, right?"
Most people will answer quickly because they're used to hearing these questions.
Now, let's talk about something many travelers forget: reading the digital arrival boards.
Those boards usually show the train destination, arrival time, and sometimes service messages.
For example, you might see messages like delayed, arriving, or boarding.
Arriving means the train is coming very soon,
Boarding means passengers can start getting on the train.
and delayed means the train will arrive later than expected.
If you're confused about what the board means, you can ask someone nearby, "Is the next train arriving soon?"
Now imagine you're inside the train and you want to make sure you don't miss your stop.
This is a very natural phrase commuters use. "Could you let me know when we reach River Street?"
Most people will nod and say something like, "Sure, I'll tell you."
Another common situation is when you want to leave the train, but people are blocking the door.
You simply say, "Excuse me, this is my stop."
It's polite, clear, and effective.
Now we arrive at the final step of the journey, exiting the station.
Many stations have multiple exits, and choosing the wrong one can send you in the opposite direction.
So it's very normal to ask, which exit leads to City Square?
Or, "Is this the exit for Main Street?"
Once you're outside, you might also need directions to a building or landmark.
For example, "Hi, how do I get to the art museum from here?"
Or if you're meeting a rideshare driver, you might ask, "Where's the rideshare pickup area?"
When you combine all these small questions and phrases, navigating a big city becomes much easier.
You don't need perfect grammar.
You just need the right phrases at the right moment.
And once you practice them a few times, they become natural.
So the next time you step into a crowded metro station, remember this.
Stay calm.
Use short phrases.
Use quick questions.
And trust that communication will happen.
Because language is really about connection, not perfection.
And with these commuter phrases in your toolkit, you'll be able to navigate busy cities with confidence and ease.
All right, Lena, before we wrap up completely, I think we should give our listeners one final challenge, something they can mentally practice while listening.
I love that idea. Let's imagine a full journey again. But this time, our listeners will picture themselves saying the phrases.
Exactly. So if you're listening right now, imagine you've just arrived in a large international city for the first time.
You step into a huge underground metro station. People are walking quickly, trains are arriving, and the announcements echo through the hall.
Your first step is finding the ticket machine.
You approach a station employee and say, "Excuse me, where can I buy a metro ticket?"
The employee points toward the machines near the entrance. You walk over, look at the screen, and see several options.
You're unsure which one to choose, so you ask, "Is the day pass good for unlimited rides?"
After buying the ticket, you move toward the gate and scan your card. Now you're inside the station and you see a large route map.
Your destination is Central Square, but you're not sure which train to take. You turn to another commuter and ask, "Excuse me, which line goes to Central Square?"
The commuter replies, "Take the blue line."
You follow the signs and reach the platform.
But before boarding, you confirm one more time. Does this train go to Central Square?
Someone nearby nods and says, "Yes, it does."
The train arrives and people begin boarding.
Inside the train, you notice it's very crowded.
You carefully move toward the door and say politely, "Excuse me, coming through."
You find a place to stand and watch the station names on the display screen.
But just to be safe, you ask the passenger next to you, "Could you tell me when we reach Central Square?"
They smile and say, "Sure."
A few minutes later, the announcement plays. Next stop, Central Square.
You move closer to the door and say, "Excuse me, this is my stop."
You exit the train and follow the signs toward the exits.
But there are 3 different exits at the station.
So you ask a passerby, "Which exit leads to City Park?"
They answer, "Take exit B and turn left."
You walk up the stairs, step out onto the street, and finally arrive at your destination.
And just like that, you successfully navigated a busy public transportation system using English.
All with simple phrases
Clear communication.
and confidence.
This is exactly how language works in real life.
It's not about complicated vocabulary.
It's about knowing the right expressions for everyday situations.
So if you want to become comfortable using English in big cities, keep practicing these phrases.
Repeat them out loud.
Imagine real situations,
And challenge yourself to think in English during daily activities.
because the more you practice, the more natural it will feel.
And one day, standing in a busy station in another country won't feel stressful at all.
It will just feel like another normal part of your journey. All right, Lena, since we're imagining real-life situations, let's add one more exercise for our listeners. This time, we'll practice how to react quickly when something unexpected happens during your trip.
Yes, because transportation systems don't always run perfectly. Sometimes trains are delayed, platforms change, or buses take different routes.
And when that happens, knowing the right phrases can make everything much easier.
Let's imagine the first unexpected situation.
You're standing on the platform waiting for your train when a sudden announcement plays. Attention passengers, the next train will depart from platform 6 instead of platform 4.
Now you're confused and want to confirm what you heard. You could quickly ask someone nearby, "Did they say platform 6?"
Or you might ask, has the platform changed?
These quick confirmation questions help you react fast.
Now let's imagine another situation. You're already on the train, but suddenly it stops for a long time between stations.
People begin looking around, wondering what's happening. You might ask another passenger, "Do you know why we stopped?"
Or if a conductor is nearby, you could say, "Excuse me, is there a delay?"
Now let's imagine the train announcement says something new. This train will terminate at city center.
That means everyone must get off there even if it wasn't their destination.
In that situation, you could ask, do I need to transfer to continue to Riverside?
Most passengers will help you figure out the next train.
Now let's move to another unexpected moment, the wrong train.
This happens more often than people admit. You suddenly realize the train is heading the opposite direction.
So you turn to someone nearby and ask, is this train going southbound?
If the answer is no, you can quickly ask, "Where should I transfer for the southbound line?"
Now let's imagine a bus situation.
You board the bus, but you're unsure if it stops near your destination.
You ask the driver politely, does this bus stop at Pine Street?
If the driver says yes, you can relax.
And if they say no, they might tell you which bus to take instead.
Another useful moment is when you're approaching your stop. You might ask the person next to you, "Is Pine Street after this stop?"
Or, should I press the stop button now?
These questions help you stay confident even in unfamiliar places.
Now, here's something interesting about city commuters.
They're usually moving fast, but they're also used to helping people with quick questions.
So don't worry about asking for help. Most of the time, people will respond with short, helpful answers.
And once you've practiced these phrases, they'll come naturally.
Soon, you'll find yourself navigating stations, trains, buses, and crowded platforms without hesitation.
And that's when you realize something important. You're no longer just learning English.
You're using English as a real tool to move through the world.
All right, Lena. Since we're imagining real-life situations, let's add one more exercise for our listeners. This time, we'll practice how to react quickly when something unexpected happens during your trip.
Yes, because transportation systems don't always run perfectly. Sometimes trains are delayed, platforms change, or buses take different routes.
And when that happens, knowing the right phrases can make everything much easier.
Let's imagine the first unexpected situation.
You're standing on the platform waiting for your train when a sudden announcement plays. "Attention passengers, the next train will depart from platform 6 instead of platform 4.
Now you're confused and want to confirm what you heard. You could quickly ask someone nearby, did they say platform 6?
Or you might ask, "Has the platform changed?"
These quick confirmation questions help you react fast.
Now let's imagine another situation. You're already on the train, but suddenly it stops for a long time between stations.
People begin looking around, wondering what's happening. You might ask another passenger, do you know why we stopped?
Or if a conductor is nearby, you could say, "Excuse me, is there a delay?"
Now let's imagine the train announcement says something new. This train will terminate at city center.
That means everyone must get off there even if it wasn't their destination.
In that situation, you could ask, do I need to transfer to continue to Riverside?
Most passengers will help you figure out the next train.
Now let's move to another unexpected moment, the wrong train.
This happens more often than people admit. You suddenly realize the train is heading the opposite direction.
So you turn to someone nearby and ask, is this train going southbound?
If the answer is no, you can quickly ask, "Where should I transfer for the southbound line?"
Now let's imagine a bus situation.
You board the bus, but you're unsure if it stops near your destination.
You ask the driver politely, does this bus stop at Pine Street?
If the driver says yes, you can relax.
And if they say no, they might tell you which bus to take instead.
Another useful moment is when you're approaching your stop. You might ask the person next to you, "Is Pine Street after this stop?"
Or, should I press the stop button now?
These questions help you stay confident even in unfamiliar places.
Now, here's something interesting about city commuters.
They're usually moving fast, but they're also used to helping people with quick questions.
So don't worry about asking for help. Most of the time, people will respond with short, helpful answers.
And once you've practiced these phrases, they'll come naturally.
Soon, you'll find yourself navigating stations, trains, buses, and crowded platforms without hesitation.
And that's when you realize something important. You're no longer just learning English.
You're using English as a real tool to move through the world.
All right, Lena, since we're imagining real-life situations, let's add one more exercise for our listeners. This time, we'll practice how to react quickly when something unexpected happens during your trip.
Yes, because transportation systems don't always run perfectly. Sometimes trains are delayed, platforms change, or buses take different routes.
And when that happens, knowing the right phrases can make everything much easier.
Let's imagine the first unexpected situation.
You're standing on the platform waiting for your train when a sudden announcement plays. Attention passengers, the next train will depart from platform 6 instead of platform 4.
Now you're confused and want to confirm what you heard. You could quickly ask someone nearby, "Did they say platform 6?"
Or you might ask, has the platform changed?
These quick confirmation questions help you react fast.
Now let's imagine another situation. You're already on the train, but suddenly it stops for a long time between stations.
People begin looking around, wondering what's happening. You might ask another passenger, "Do you know why we stopped?"
Or if a conductor is nearby, you could say, "Excuse me, is there a delay?"
Now let's imagine the train announcement says something new. This train will terminate at City Center.
That means everyone must get off there even if it wasn't their destination.
In that situation, you could ask, "Do I need to transfer to continue to Riverside?"
Most passengers will help you figure out the next train.
Now let's move to another unexpected moment, the wrong train.
This happens more often than people admit.
You suddenly realize the train is heading in the opposite direction.
So you turn to someone nearby and ask, "Is this train going southbound?"
If the answer is no, you can quickly ask, where should I transfer for the southbound line?
Now let's imagine a bus situation.
You board the bus, but you're unsure if it stops near your destination.
You ask the driver politely, "Does this bus stop at Pine Street?"
If the driver says yes, you can relax.
And if they say no, they might tell you which bus to take instead.
Another useful moment is when you're approaching your stop. You might ask the person next to you, is Pine Street after this stop?
Or, should I press the stop button now?
These questions help you stay confident even in unfamiliar places.
Now, here's something interesting about city commuters.
They're usually moving fast, but they're also used to helping people with quick questions.
So don't worry about asking for help.
Most of the time, people will respond with short, helpful answers.
And once you've practiced these phrases, they'll come naturally.
Soon you'll find yourself navigating stations, trains, buses, and crowded platforms without hesitation.
And that's when you realize something important.
You're no longer just learning English.
You're using English as a real tool to move through the world.
All right, I think this is the perfect moment to wrap up today's journey through busy city transportation.
I agree. Today we explored what it's really like to use English inside large metro stations, train platforms, buses, and crowded transit hubs.
We started with the basics like buying tickets and using transit machines.
Then we moved on to understanding route maps, digital boards, and station announcements.
We also talked about how to ask quick questions during rush hour.
Like confirming your train, asking about stops, or finding the right platform.
And we practiced the small but powerful phrases that commuters use every day.
Simple things like, "Excuse me, is this the right train?" or "Which exit goes to Main Street?"
Those short phrases are often more useful than long, complicated sentences.
Exactly. Real communication in busy places is fast, clear, and practical.
We also looked at what to do when something unexpected happens.
Like delays, platform changes, or trains stopping early.
And the key lesson is simple.
Stay calm.
Ask short questions.
And don't be afraid to talk to the people around you.
Because language is not about being perfect.
It's about connecting with people and solving real situations.
So the next time you find yourself in a crowded subway station or bus terminal in another country,
Remember the phrases you practiced today.
use them confidently.
And enjoy the experience of exploring a new city.
Thanks for joining us in today's conversation.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and keep building your real-world English skills.
Until next time.
Safe travels and happy learning!